Once upon a time, in a kingdom flourishing with happy, loud, wide-awake people. I think you know where we're going with this, right? Anyway, a local king and queen who had had more than their fill of morning coffee had just welcomed an adorable baby princess into the world.
Oh, my dear, isn't she beautiful? And sleeping so soundly.
Don't worry, honey, I'll fix that. One pot of hot java coming up.
Oh, come down with the coffee already, dear. Girl needs her sleep. In fact, that's what we'll name her. Sleeping Beauty.
Sleep! Pah! The fat is overrated. Go the way to Beanie Babies for too long. Now, if you'll need me, I've got some Candy Crush. Important royal duties to attend to. Yes, well, in the meantime, the queen, actually thinking of someone other than herself, had summoned, as was tradition, the 7 fairy godmothers who were assigned to give gifts to each new child in the royal family. Well, technically there were 8 fairies, but...
And I kept calling and calling her, but I got the answering machine every time.
Oh well, it's probably for the best. Just saves us from having to mail an extra Christmas card this year. Pass the coffee, honey.
Oh, brother.
And so the day arrived for Sleeping Beauty's welcoming celebration. The trumpeters played their funny-looking horns, the king took a few aspirins with his coffee, and the princess just sat there looking cute. Why, it almost got as many viewers on television as the British royal wedding. Soon the guests of honor, the fairies, arrived, only something seemed to be off.
Hey! What gives? Where's the 7th fairy?
Your Majesty, but her wings had malfunctioned, and she had to take them into the shop and rent a magic carpet. She should be around here shortly.
Well, that's what happens when you don't change your fairy dust every 10,000 miles. Okay, let's get this over with.
And so it began. Each one of the little fairies approached the little princess, waved her magic wand over her tiny little head, and bestowed a gift upon her.
May your beauty only increase as you age. Enough to lure some handsome Prince Hunkin to marry you.
Preferably one with stake in a coffee company.
Hey, who's the fairy here? Point taken.
May you be as kind and as loving as me.
Gertrude. Oh, all right. As any decent, upstanding, tax-paying citizen.
But she's royalty.
Exactly.
And so the fairies continued to deliver their magical gifts unto the manipulatively adorable little monarch. Intelligence, a sassy personality, tickets to Disneyland. I won't bore you with the rest. Finally, as the 6th fairy had just finished up her little spiel...
And that's not all. If you order a year-long subscription, you'll receive this fancy keychain.
What? I thought the fireworks weren't until after the party.
And when the smoke cleared, there stood the hideous,
rail-thin, strangely dressed...
All right! I think they get the picture!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow, they actually got Lady Gaga to perform here?
Doesn't she know it's bad luck to wear black after Columbus Day? Wow, she needs her own movie.
Listen! What part of leave a message after the beep don't you people understand?
I step out for a lousy 45 years to go shopping,
and you don't even have the courtesy to text me to let me know about this kid's party?
You probably weren't even going to send me a Christmas card either! I don't ask for much. A comfortable castle, control over a certain amount of territory, loads of human slaves to do my bidding, an invitation to give a magical gift to the new king of the kingdom.
And this is the thanks I get? In my usual petty sense of vengeance, I'll give her a gift, all right. Along with the rest of you!
You just had one friend her all those years ago just because she wouldn't return her dessert recipe cookbook.
I didn't see you lifting a finger to help.
Silence! I'm giving a monologue of retribution here!
Your daughter shall indeed live up to her name.
At some point, she'll prick her finger on the needle of a spinning wheel. First, it's gonna hurt real bad, and then she'll fall into a deep, deep sleep from which she cannot be awakened!
You even bring up the fact that I named her, and I'll swat you.
And as for this kingdom, you shall suffer the same fate, as I shall change your nation's entire coffee supply into decaf!
No! You witch! You'll never get away with this!
I already have! Try staying awake now, people! Okay, I gotta run. Dancing with the Pixies comes on in 15 minutes.
Well, that could have gone better.
Darling! Our child's in danger of falling asleep for the rest of her life. She might even miss out on her SATs. Oh, how was she ever going to graduate college if she sleeps through all her classes?
When suddenly, hark! For what light beyond her window breaks. Whoops, wrong story.
Easy there, Trigger.
The last and least of the fairies had finally arrived.
Ooh. Woof. Last time by a flight cart from my Aladdin kid. Ooh. Yeesh. Who killed this party?
Well, seeing as how a member of your union, who dresses like a reject from a Cirque du Soleil show, has just cursed our daughter and our coffee supply, maybe you can understand why we aren't so darn giddy!
Oh dear. Need to reverse a curse, eh? Well, you're lucky I do birthday parties and make house calls. Oh, brother. Now, let's see what we have here. Oh, boy. Looks like a case of the old sleeping forever business. And some mild dandruff. Oh, yowzers. This was going to be tough. Well, I got some good news, and I got some bad news.
All right, give us the bad news first.
Well, seeing how my Fairy Express card is nearly maxed out, I'm afraid I'm not able to cure this little heartbreaker in training's problem.
All right. And what's the good news?
However, I could propose a little jury-rig fix. I'll make it so that she is able to be awoken from her extended nap by a kiss from a handsome young prince.
Okay, but seriously, what's the good news?
Oh, why didn't I listen to my mother and marry that nice Bill Gates boy instead? Well, I'd love to stay and join the celebration, but I've got to help some poor girl who needs to go to a ball. TTFN! All right, you unreliable bath mat, let's make tracks.
That's it! What that terrible runaway model wannabe said must never come to pass! Minister! Have that Juan Valdez guy ship some of his best stuff to the kingdom!
Dear?
Oh, all right. And also ban all the spinning wheels in the kingdom as well.
Well, despite the shallow hard-headedness of her father, little Sleeping Beauty soon grew into a bright and lovely young princess, who enjoyed all the freedoms that being royalty gave her, like lots of people waiting on you, staying up as long as you want, and getting on the covers of all the trendy magazines.
Young lady, what's going on in there? Nothing, Mom. Are you spinning thread in there? No, Mom, I swear, I'm only looking at Beefcake magazines. All right. Phew. Boy, I hate to lie to Mom and all, but ever since these things were banned, I've been crazy about them. Shame I've never been able to see a real one up close.
Well, if that isn't a setup, I don't know what is. Anyway.
But, Daddy, I'm getting sick and tired of wearing dresses made of wrapping paper with safety pins and super glue. They come apart so easily, and I don't have that much of a wardrobe left.
Yes, the, dress looks, lovely on you, dear.
No, it doesn't! You're not even listening to me! I can't go around looking like this! I'm probably the only princess in the whole country who looks like she's auditioning for a punk rock band! Now, if you don't mind, Daddy, I'd like a dress that's actually spun from some nice-looking fabric.
No, dear. You remember what the nice, evil, and ugly fairy lady said. We simply cannot have you pricking your fingers on a spinning wheel and falling into a deep sleep and all that.
I mean, just think of how ridiculous their school pictures would look with your eyes closed all the time. Now, if you excuse me, dear, I have to order another shipment of coffee. This batch is barely keeping me awake.
In the meantime, during this lovely conversation between father and daughter, a mysterious character, for those of you who don't have a very good memory, was lurking in a very dark and mysterious hallway.
So, the fair princess wishes to spin thread now, does she? I'll be happy to oblige. Really need to sweep up back here.
That very same day, Sleeping Beauty was walking ever so carefully down the steps on her way to her Ways to Quietly Burp Without Anyone Noticing classes, while at the same time trying not to rip her delicate Happy Birthday print gown. Well, I did say trying.
Oh, darn! There goes the hem again! Ugh! At this rate, I'll have to switch to something like cardboard!
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Huh? Who dares to make a playful remark at my expense?
Why, I would, my dear.
So it was you, huh, old woman? As if it weren't miserable enough around here with the writers this show already has. You have to chime in? I should have you sent to the dungeon for that!
Well, that would be quite a shame, Your Majesty, since from what I hear, you seem to have a fascination with spinning wheels?
And seeing as I'm the last seamstress in this kingdom that your daddy forgot to send to the unemployment line,
I could help you get your hands on one.
Huh? Really? You mean I can actually start wearing designer fabrics?
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, dear. First, you've got to promise that you won't rat me out. I've got to make a living somehow, after all.
Sure, as long as you promise not to tell Daddy that I used one.
Oh, of course, dear.
Cross my heart and hope to prick my finger on a spindle, putting me into a deep internal sleep. What? Never mind, let's just get on with this whole thing, okay?
Given that Sleeping Beauty hadn't boned up on her fairy tales recently, and who could blame her if they were still being written at this point, she found nothing strange about the idea of going with a creepy-looking old lady into a murky old cobweb basement that Count Dracula may very well have considered a summer home, until right in the middle of the room, strangely lit, as though it were being advertised for Christmas, sat the object of her affections.
Is that what I think it is?
Oh, it sure is. It's last decade's model, and it's got a few thousand miles on it, but I'm willing to let it go for pretty cheap.
Oh, thank you, you ugly old servant. Hopefully I can use this to make a gown in time for this year's Waving to the Lowly Townspeople Awards.
Yes, exactly, but let's make sure that it's actually still working first. Could you please put this thread on the spindle and give it a whirl?
Well, normally backbreaking manual labor like that is reserved for the little people. But seeing as how I've always wanted to try this thing out, here goes!
Oh, why, whatever's the matter, dear?
Oh, I wouldn't jab my precious royal finger on that stupid spindle. They really ought to princess-proof these things. I knew I should have had a horse mechanic do it instead.
Well, normally this is where I'd have antibiotics, antibacterial lotion, alcohol, topical ointment, calamine lotion, and a Band-Aid put on it. But I am feeling far too sleepy. I'm just gonna take a little power nap. Wake me in 5. Oh, and you're fired, by the way. Money and boys.
Meanwhile, in another part of the castle, the queen's innate maternal protection alarm senses something is amiss.
Mommy senses tingling.
It worked like a charm. That kid fell for it hook, line, and spindle.
That evil queen seminar on how to disguise yourself as a kindly octogenarian sure came in handy.
That'll teach these snobs to forget my invitation.
Oh, and that reminds me, I'm throwing an evil ethereal being bash at my place, and this kid's mom's recipe book should really come in handy.
All right, who's laughing maniacally in triumph here? My poor baby. Are you all right? Huh? Wait a minute. What's this spinning wheel doing here? I thought we'd had all these things banned. Oh no! That evil fairy has cursed my sweet little girl to a perpetual state of sleep. Oh, how's she going to attend her debutante ball when she's always face down in the punch bowl?
Well, looks like that evil fairy sure found Sleeping Beauty's Achilles finger, and when the king found out about this tragic event, he was equally as concerned.
What? What do you mean the royal coffee shipment was raided?
I'm sorry, Your Highness, but when Blackbeard and his men don't get their morning joe, they tend to get desperate, you know.
I knew we should have ordered inland.
Dear, what about our little girl?
Huh? Oh, yeah, the whole sleep thing. Listen, honey, I'm just as upset about it as you are, but I can't function clearly without some Java. I'll just sleep on it and figure it out later.
Oh, no you won't. You're not letting your lack of caffeine get in the way of your parental duties.
Well, where do you expect me to find a prince at this hour?
Stop it! That's contagious!
Well, after the royal couple stopped bickering and fighting the effects of caffeine withdrawal, they carried Sleeping Beauty up to her room and laid her on her fancy satin sheets with her fancy satin pillows, satin-lined comforter, satin-lined teddy bear. Oh, you get it by now. The girl has a lot of luxuries. Anyway, the king and queen started to argue all over again about whose fault the whole thing was until they fell asleep as well. And since the kingdom's coffee supply was pilfered, all the townspeople were snoozing too. The years passed and the seasons came and went. And over time, ugly and prickly thorn bushes grew up all around the castle. They couldn't be cut down due to the royal gardener being off in dreamland with everybody else. Needless to say, they didn't win the good castle-keeping seal of approval all those years, but on the bright side, a lot of Hollywood directors began to scout it out as a horror film location. Anyway, back to the story. It seems that one day there was an obligatorily handsome young prince and his squire that just happened to be passing by on their way home from the convenience store when suddenly...
Are you absolutely certain this is a shortcut, Squire? My slushie's getting even slushier.
Well, your whininess, according to my GPS, we haven't got that much farther.
I am not whiny. I'm royalty. I'm just not used to discomfort, that's all. And that's not a GPS, stupid. That's a compass. To be more specific, the compass I broke when I threw it at that big fat head of yours the last time you called me whiny. Okay then. We're officially lost. I should have known better than to travel with a squire whose survival training consisted of watching reality TV. Now what are we gonna do?
Well, we could, always try asking inside that spooky-looking castle for directions.
Are you crazy? That's what the teenagers always say, and then sure enough, they get locked inside with some kind of hockey goalie who wants to play slapshot with their heads. Besides, those thorns look like they could stick you real bad.
Well, it's either that or get eaten alive by wolves when the sun goes down.
Come on, Squire! What are you waiting for? We've got to go in there and ask for directions! Ha! 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 Take that, you wascally weeds! Ha! Oh, off to the compost heap with ya! Ha! Ha! Ha!
Nothing like the fear of being eaten alive to make a brave man out of the cowardly and stupid.
That philosophy has also led to some very entertaining viral videos. But anyway, the cowardly yet brave prince had soon done an impressive hedging job that led all the way to the castle's front door.
Well, go ahead and knock, sire.
You know, I don't think anyone's home. I mean, the weeds are all grown up and... Oh, the house is occupied, all right, honey, but everyone inside is just taking what you call an extended siesta. Who said that? Oh, no need to fret, my pet. It's just a kindly and single fairy whose job it is to act as sort of a bit of an expository reminder.
Easy, sire. It could be a trap.
You don't have to tell me twice. Besides, she doesn't look like she's my type. No worries there, honey bunch. I just wanted to let you know that I'm a witness to this whole mess that went on in there. You see, the king and the queen of the castle had a baby and didn't invite a disgruntled member of the National Fairy Organization to the party, so Little Miss, constantly dressed for a Halloween party, decided to take her wrath out on the family, putting the princess and the entire court to sleep. Now, all the kingdom really needs is a few hot cups of joe, but the princess herself can only be freed with a kiss from a tall and handsome stranger such as yourself. I've gotta kiss her.
Might want to brush your teeth first there, chum.
Oh, pipe down. I'm gonna show you once and for all that I am a brave prince. Miss Fairy Lady, get some Java brewed and bring out the IV stat. 528 pots of cafe coming right up. Hot stuff. Stop calling me that. Oh, here, I almost forgot. Take this with you. It's a magical shield that'll protect you from the evil fairy's attacks. Ma'am? No offense, but this looks like the lid to a garbage can. Oh, all right. Look, I have to sell the real shield at a yard sale a few years back. You're gonna have to make do with what my budget permits. Anyway, gorgeous, I think you look positively heroic holding it.
And so the prince and squire absconded into the creepy castle to avoid any further amorous advances of that wacky fairy.
Squire, are you sure it was a good idea to go into this dark and evil-looking place?
Well, you're scaredy catness. It was either that or let that kooky fairy hit on you some more.
Oh, I see your point.
And I'm not a scary...
Whoa. Look at that.
Either they ran out of coffee, or Carrot Top just finished a show here.
Well, where do you think we should look for the princess, your cowardly ship?
I think we should try up those creepy-looking stairs.
And I'm not a coward!
Now, you go first.
Oh, boy.
And so the courageously cowardly prince and his cantankerous squire made their way up the creepy-looking staircase. When suddenly, in a puff of smoke... Okay, I'm not even going to bother to surprise you anymore.
A hideous, rotting zombie!
You big baby.
A hideous zombie? You just interrupted a perfectly good episode of Desperate Force, nymphs I was watching.
But at least I know my chivalrous handsome prince alarm works.
So, you must be the evil fairy who's responsible for all of this!
And you must be the brave and handsome prince who intends to undo my beautiful spell.
Well, thank you for the compliment, but that honor would go to this simpering little coward hiding behind me.
I am not a coward!
Well, you're not exactly boiling over on my hunkometer. But I suppose, with your lack of a backbone, this should be...
a large, environmentally friendly puff of smoke, the rather temperamental evil fairy really put a drag on things. Okay, let's see you come up with a better one.
Well, your chickenliness. Now's your chance.
I am not chicken!
No, but I bet you'll taste like it!
That stupid trash can shield melted! Oh, I knew that goofy fairy wasn't playing with a full deck!
So, what say you now? Chicken! Oh boy, fast food! Here, chick. Who's that pulling on my tail?
Excuse me, ma'am.
You know, I can put off the barbecue chicken for a while and have a char-broiled squire burger instead!
Help! Please, Your Majesty, help!
Huh? Your Majesty? Now that's more like it. Oh, but how am I gonna beat that overgrown salamander?
Hey, I can hear you thinking that!
Oh, yeah? Well, what am I thinking now?
I tell you, but this is a family show.
Well, Gecko Breath, how about a little appetizer before the main course?
Depends. Is it high in cholesterol?
No, and it's got plenty of iron!
Sire, you did it!
Well, you know, when a friend's in danger.
No! I mean, you actually went for that incredibly lame pun!
Pipe down! We've got a princess to wake up!
And after a quick trip to the nearby bathroom to guzzle with some mouthwash for that extra special moment, the prince and the squire stood before the beautiful sight of the the title character, you know what I mean. Wow. She sure is a sleeping beauty.
Of course she is! Didn't you read the script?
Yeah, well, let's just hope I have the right stuff.
Hey! What'd you do that for? I was just dreaming I was kissing this really handsome... Oh...
Aha! You did it, sire!
Did what? Oh, jeez, look at my fingernails! Just how long was I out, anyway?
About 20 years or so, I guess.
Oh, shoot, I missed that interview with Royal Monthly!
I could help you reschedule another one.
Do you like coffee?
Well, I'm sorry to say that I really don't.
Great, it's a date! Come with me!
And when the two had gotten back to the royal court, they'd found everyone as wide awake and happy, well, wide awake anyway, as they had been before.
My baby! Darling, you're awake again!
Oh, Dad, you've got coffee breath!
When doesn't he?
Oh, my sweetheart, it's so good to see that you're awake!
Now, the dean will accept your application.
Aw, give it some time to sink in!
Oh, and I'd like you to meet the nice prince who woke me up.
It was, nothing really.
Congratulations, young man! So, tell me, your family have a large monopoly on coffee?
Dear!
No. Highly caffeinated soda, actually.
Well, close enough.
And so the moderately brave prince and Sleeping Beauty were married. The king allowed everyone to drink something other than coffee every now and then. The goofy fairy received a commendation medal for helping out. The evil fairy was arrested for practicing magic with a suspended license. The gardener nearly had a nervous breakdown upon seeing all the weeds. The squire published a tell-all book about the prince's cowardly beginnings. And later, Sleeping Beauty became the spokesmodel for Sleeping Beauty Sleeping Pills. They're still having a hard time waking people up from them.